Hi everyone, I am Chef Ann Burrell, host of Worst Cooks in America. Yes, I am not one, and I will help you to be not one too. What are we making today? We are making a delicious, decadent, cheesy potato dish. Hello, scalloped potatoes gratin. I mean, this is like one of those things that when I think of gratin potatoes or scalloped potatoes, as my upstate New York roots makes me want to say scalloped potatoes, it makes me think of like Christmas time or something that's like a little bit fancy and holiday. I mean, this dish is big, it's decadent, and anything with a potato and cheese, I am on board. Sign me up. So we're gonna start off by making a really yummy cheese sauce, or what we could call a sauce mornay. So to start with a sauce mornay, we start off making a roux. A roux, what is it? It's butter and flour, equal parts by weight, cooked together. I'm gonna zhuzh mine up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of diced onions and a little bit of garlic. And then we add milk to the whole mixture. So we make a bechamel, which is a very basic, classic French mother sauce. And then we're gonna add a whole bunch of cheese to it. I said the C word, cheese. I like me some cheese. So we're gonna add cheese to that. We're gonna make a nice, delicious, cheesy, zesty cheese sauce that we're going to bake on top of some sliced potatoes. Hello, deliciousness on deck. So I have a stick of butter that I am gonna start melting ever so gently. I'm putting a very low flame on my butter. I'm gonna start to melt that. In the meantime, while my butter is melting, I'm going to very finely dice half of an onion. Now, when we talk about the world of cutting an onion, let's talk about how we do it. All right, when we look at an onion, and we say, like most things, an onion has two ends. It has the stem end that grows up towards the sky, and it has the root end that I call the hairy end. When we're thinking about cutting an onion, think always leave the hairy end on, and you will see why. So we pick up our knife, we pinch it between our thumb and 4 fingers, 3 fingers downtown, so we are really in control of this guy. Our other hand, we use and we act like the claw. So like this, the claw, always with our thumb behind everything. So it's like this. If we have our thumb out like this, we have a very distinct possibility of doing that, and that's no bueno. So when I have roly things and my big knife in my fingers, that makes me a bit nerviosa. So I'm going to cut off this stem end. Check this out. All right, there we go. Look at that, stem end, thank you for coming. And look what we have, no more roly. We've stabilized the whole issue. We're gonna cut our onion in half, right through the middle, right through the hairy end. We're gonna save this other half for, our tuna fish sandwich or something tomorrow for another purpose. And then we're gonna just focus on this half. So look we have a corner in which to peel the onion like a super speed demon. And we have our thank you for coming bowl where the peels go right into, the onion skins. When this is full, we take it over and we empty it in the garbage, and then we bring it back here. Keeps everything neat and organized. I am always about having a neat and organized workstation. So my butter is melting. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a teensy bit there. There we go. Now, I'm going to take the tip of my knife and I'm going to slice my onion. I'm going to slice the onion to the back, but not through the back. We're not gonna cut anything off, no cutty offy. And we're gonna make sure all the slices are the same size. Why? Size does matter because we are looking for uniform dices on this onion. If I have a piece of onion that's this big versus a piece of onion that's that big, they're not gonna cook at the same time, and that's not gonna be a good thing for our scalloped potato gratin. So here we go, like this. Really close together on those slices because we want a very finely diced onion. So to the back, but not through the back. So look what I have. My onion is cut. but it's together, but it's cut. That's what the hairy end does. It holds everybody together. If you cut the hairy end off and leave the stem end on, your onion will not behave this way. So we're gonna go one time through the middle like that, and then we're just gonna rock it downtown. All right. Now, when we get to here, and it's tall and it's tippy, my fingers are involved, my big knife, that makes me nerviosa. What do? Throw this away? No way. I bought the whole onion, so let's use the whole onion. We just tip it forward. Again, I love that low tuck solution. There we go. And we go downtown like this. And here we go. We can tip it back like that. And that. And then look what we have. Just the hairy end. And we say, thank you for coming, hairy end. All right. So my butter is nice and melty. It's starting to sizzle and bubble. So I'm going to add my onions, my very finely diced half an onion, right to that. I'm using my bench scrape. This is my bench, and I'm scraping it, and it's really makes things very Q&Y, quick and easy to transfer my onions right into my pan. I'm gonna give a sprinky dink of salt. That was like less than half a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna wind up adding a bunch more salt to this whole situation. But how much salt do we need? I don't know. I need to taste my sauce. All right, there we go. Let's stir this guy around. All right, so I want to sweat my onions. I want to saute them without adding any color. So you think about, what do when you sweat? You get hot, you let off water, and you start to smell. That's what our onions are doing. Very good thing. Okay, onions and butter. Oh my. All right, let's add a couple of garlic cloves to this. So by the way, a bulb of garlic, a clove of garlic. So we need 2 of these, not 2 of these. So 2 cloves of garlic. Thank you for coming. Look at my board, so nice and neat. Now I'm gonna take my knife and I'm going to bang my garlic a little bit. All right, then look at this. This skin will fly right off. All right, so we're gonna cut the little stem ends off of these garlic cloves. Oh, stem end, always thank you for coming. Okay, now, let's just give this a little stir and see what's happening here. Okay, I'm gonna turn my burner down just a little bit. I wanna cook these low and slow to really take the rawness off the onions and to really get them to start to let out their sweet, good deliciousness. I'm always a fan of an onion. All right, so my garlic, I'm gonna cut in half the long way. I'm gonna take a little look-see in the middle and see if I see a little green sprouty thing in there. If I do, I take it out. Thank you for coming. It's just the garlic sprout. I mean, it's not huge if you don't remember to do this, but it doesn't help anything either. You know, don't sweat it if you forget it. All right, but we're gonna take those out. Okay. Now we're gonna get right in there and own this. We're gonna smash our garlic cloves. Smash, yes. We're gonna break all of those cells of our garlic. This seems much more dramatic than it actually is. We're trying to break all the cells of those garlic cloves. When we add our smashed and chopped garlic to the pan with our onions and butter, it's gonna let off its garlic goodness right away. All right. So my onions are smelling delicious. They've been cooking for, about 4 or 5 minutes or so. Okay, let's add our garlic right to that. We're gonna cook that for another 2 to 3 minutes. The smell of onions and garlic cooking, I mean, it doesn't matter if I have just eaten a 12-course dinner, this smell makes me hungry all over again. Yes. Okay, there we go. Onions, garlic, and butter. Now, remember what I said a roux was? It was butter and flour, equal amounts. So I have my butter in there. The onions and garlic have nothing to do with the roux other than flavoring factors, so that we're thinking about the sauce at the same time. But let's go ahead and build that roux. So I had 1 stick of butter, which is 4 ounces of butter. So I'm going to add a half a cup of flour, which is approximately 4 ounces. So when we do stuff like this, we do the scoop and sweep method. So I take my measuring cup, I get in there, I scoop a lot, and then I take something with a straight edge on the back and I sweep it. Okay, so I'm gonna add my flour, I'm gonna whisk it in there. You wanna use a whisk for this because you really want the flour to get in there and you wanna be able to bust right through it like asteroids. All right, so we don't want any floury lumps. We're gonna cook the flour, butter, and onion garlic mixture together for about 3 to 4 minutes, or until we see our roux, our butter and flour mixture, looking like the consistency of sort of like wet sand, you could call it. Like, you know, if you're walking on the beach and you're at the edge of the ocean and you pull your foot out and the sand kind of runs back together, that's what we're looking for. Okay, I'll let that cook for another second. Here we go. Let's just do a little cleanup job. Always neat and tidy. I consider my cutting board like my desk. If you know, like your desk at your office, neat and clean, and then you're more productive. That's the way I feel about my cutting board. All right, so, all right. Good things starting to happen here. Now, I need to get the bulk of my sauce, which is the milk. All right, so I always like to have a little extra milk around when I'm doing a sauce like this. Sometimes things can get really thick and you need to thin it down a little bit. So, you know, sometimes you just need to have that happen. All right, so, whoops. Okay. I'm gonna add the rest of this guy. There was a little more than half a container of milk, so, you know, I needed half this guy. I'm gonna reserve the rest of what's in here just in case my sauce gets a little thick and I need to do a little damage control or thin it down. Accept it and move on. It's just the way flour works. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this to a boil. BTB, bring to boil. RTS, reduce to simmer. Bring to boil, reduce to simmer. You cannot reduce something to a simmer until you have brought it up to a boil first. And anything that you are thickening with flour, you must bring it up to a boil. Otherwise, you will feel a raw flour feeling on your palate all the time, and it's a very objectionable feeling. So, we've got this going. We've got butter, we've got flour, we've got onions, we've got garlic, we've got milk. We're gonna BTB, RTS. So while we're waiting for this to come to a boil, we are going to grate some cheese. So I have Parmesan cheese and I have another type of cheese, which is absolutely one of my favorites, Gruyere. This is kind of like a Swiss cheese. It's nutty, it's interesting, it's a little bit stinky. I love that. So I'm gonna grate 2 cups of this. I have grated Parmesan that I need 1 cup of, and we're gonna go all of that into our milk roux mixture. So, all right, look at it. We make this really easy on ourselves. A little plastic wrap on our cutting board. A little grater. Now, when I'm looking at my Gruyere cheese, I see a rind on the top and bottom that I'm just gonna remove. Thank you for coming. There we go. Now, I'm gonna grate 2 cups of this. So I'm gonna use the large holes in my grater, and I'm doing it on a plastic wrap, so I can just basically pick it up and toss it right in my pot. Look at me, always thinking. You know, I like to cook. I like to get in, have the fun. I like to taste, but I don't love to do the cleanup. So I make as little amount of cleanup as possible. Look at me, always thinking. So 2 cups sort of seems like it sounds like a lot. It really is pretty quick to grate 2 cups of cheese. Parmesan cheese, if you buy it already grated, I recommend keeping it in the freezer unless you use tons and tons of it. Keep it in the freezer. It will keep it fresher longer. I mean, Parmigiano is kind of expensive, so do the best that you can to keep it around as long as you possibly can, or just use it and eat it. I mean, you know, it's not easy being cheesy, but I do it so well. All right, so what's left of my Gruyere, just the rind. Thank you for coming. Look at this, I've got a whole bunch of cheese in there. Okay, that might be more than 2 cups. It definitely is more than 2 cups. But so let's start, I'm gonna say that's about a cup, that's about a cup, and we'll keep this maybe for another purpose. So we're bringing this guy up to a boil, and we can see already, this is really starting to be beautiful and nice and thick. So I'm making sure that I get all the way, like when I stir this guy, I'm making sure that I get my whisk all the way around in the corners to get all of the flour and everything off the bottom of the pan so it won't burn. So my sauce already now is still looking very thick to me, so, or a little too thick, because remember, I gotta add all my cheese to this. So I'm gonna just add a little bit more milk. There we go. Thank you for coming, milk. All right. Great. Oh, this looks like the perfect consistency right now. Remember, this is gonna get a little bit thicker, and then we got a whole lot of cheese to add to this, which will really thicken this guy up a lot as well. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to, I'm gonna turn up my burner. While we're waiting for this to come to a boil, I'm gonna add some super secret flavor weapons. So, in conjunction with my Gruyere and Parmigiano, I have some mustard. I like a mustard. Mustard is super zesty and it's got a great big flavor and it brings a lot to the party. So we're gonna add about 1/4 of a cup or 2 heaping spoonfuls like that, okay? Okay, I'm gonna whisk that guy in. Good stuff here. Already, it's looking beautiful and thick and amazing. But you know what I have not done yet? You know what I don't know about this? I don't know how it tastes. I mean, yes, we have a lot of cheese to add to this, but let's see like where we are. We always need to have like a good starting point to know where we are in terms of flavor. Very nice. I always keep a little situation of tasting spoons in water around when I cook so I can taste and put them back in there. It's kind of a cleaning situation, but I always, always, always taste my food. I'm gonna get a little sprinky dink of salt in there. All right. Let's talk potato. So some of my favorite kind of potatoes to use are Yukon Gold potatoes. They're really creamy. They have a lovely golden color on the inside, very thin skin. So, I mean, on a lot of occasions, I don't even peel them. So we want to slice these guys. I have 3 pounds. I want to slice them to 1/4 of an inch thick. So if I see anything on the outside that's like on the edge, that's like sort of like eyes or something like that, we can ditch that. And so we can slice these guys to 1/4 of an inch thick. You know, you want to get your knife skills going out there, certainly. Or, so, you know, this is where you can enlist help if you'd like to. 3 pounds of potatoes, I mean, it shouldn't take you that long to cut, but remember, we're really looking for very accurate knife cuts. So there we go. That's 1 potato cut to 1/4 of an inch. This little guy will say, thank you for coming. Now, ooh, look at, we're at a boil here. Very nice. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of Parmigiano. So when you buy a container of Parmigiano like this is a pint or 2 cups. So we're gonna use half of it. Look at me. Always thinking so I don't have to get my measuring cups dirty. There you go, half of that. I mean, this is already measured for you, sort of. All right, and then this guy, let's just go ahead, get all of that in there. Oh, yeah. All right, we're gonna save you for a little bit later. All right, let's get all this deliciousness. I am really making a mess, but I'm also really cleaning it up. Okay. Okay, stir this guy in. I'm gonna switch over to a spatula now. So I feel like this will just be easier to make sure I really, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn my burner down. All right, cheese sauce. Doing delicious things. Ugh. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. And we also see when we're doing this kind of thing why we don't make this dish all the time. All right. So we're gonna let that go. Gonna taste it again. That's my cheese sauce, delicious happy dance. Yeah. All right. That cheese, you can really taste the Gruyere. It's a little bit stinky. You get the nutty and the salty sharpness of the Parmigiano. You feel the little like zesty poke of the mustard. You have the nice creaminess of the actual bulk of the sauce itself. And then you follow up with a little bit of the onion and garlic. It is all working together. I'm gonna cook this for 1 or 2 more minutes while I just get my potatoes going, and then we're going to get the assemblage of our potato gratin together. So you can use your chef's knife with this, or if you are feeling extra risky, we can use this guy. This guy is what we call a mandolin. It is one of the most dangerous pieces of kitchen equipment that we have. It will take the tips of your fingers off without even feeling bad about it. So whenever you use this guy, always think flat hands. So when we go like this, flat hands, flat hands, flat hands, and look how fast I can slice a whole potato. And this guy, don't even worry about this little tiny bit of potato, all right? It's not worth your fingers. So these guys seem just a hair thick to me, so I'm gonna make this a little bit thinner. And let's try one another time. Let's get it started. And we think flat hands, flat hands, flat hands, flat hands, flat hands. Okay, it's even a little bit thinner still. Okay, here we go. But look what a super speed demon I can be with this, but respect the mandolin. You can also, if you have a slicing attachment on your food processor, that works just as well. Okay. All right. So I've got about half of my potatoes done. My sauce is going. Now I'm going to start doing the, it's like a cheese facial right there. I swear, if I do a face plant in that, I wonder if it would become like one of those peel off facial cheese masks. That would be the best thing ever. All right, so we're gonna turn this guy off and we're gonna start assembling our gratin. So I have my potatoes now. I'm only doing about half of them now. I'm gonna layer them into the bottom of my dish because remember, we're sort of scalloping them, so that means like sort of laying them over each other. And I'm not putting these in water and I'm working very quickly. So when you cut a potato, you need to put it in water to prevent it from turning brown. But what that also does is washes off the potato starch. I don't want to do that here. So the potato starch is going to help this guy bake all together and stick together so that you can slice it and serve pretty pieces of this guy. So we're going to layer these all in there. And this is why I'm working quickly because I'm using them right away and I don't want them to turn brown. So look at that. So we have a nice layer of potatoes in there. Now I'm gonna ladle in some sauce. Okay, you wanna really do a nice even layer of this guy. All right, and then we're going to just keep on building this whole situation. So I have more potatoes. We're gonna like get it in the sauce and really squeeze out everything, push out the sauce to the edge. We wanna do sort of individual almost layers of potatoes because we really want sauce potatoes and we want everybody to bake together into one unified dish. In between the layers before you put the sauce on, really give it a squash down. You want everyone to be kind of really snuggled in with each other. So once I get done with the potatoes that I've sliced, I'm gonna slice some more, I'm gonna layer in some more sauce, and I'm gonna do it till I'm done. All right, my last layer of potatoes, let's just finish up with a little bit of sauce here. All right, so a nice even layer of sauce on the top of this guy because this is the part where we want to get brown and a little bubbly, and this is where the gratin parts comes in. Gratin means actually to brown on top. So we really want this guy to be nice and crispy, sort of crunchy brown on top. It will smell delicious. Look at that. Okay. Oh, yum. Quality control, good stuff for me. Thank you. Now, I have my baking dish on a sheet tray lined with aluminum foil. Why? Because if this guy bubbles up and bubbles over, and it will go onto here rather than on the bottom of my oven, and then I can just take the foil off, throw it away. Easy cleanup. Look at me, always thinking. My oven is set at 375 degrees. I am going to pop this in 30 minutes. I'm going to take it out. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna turn it around. If the top of this is getting too brown, I'm gonna put a little aluminum foil over the top of it so it won't get too brown. And then the last like 5 minutes of cooking time, we'll take that off to allow it to get really brown and crispy. So 30 minutes, 375, open the oven, turn it around, cover it with foil if we need to, and then another 30. All right, push pause. I'll see you in 30 minutes when we do a little check-in with our beautiful cheesy potato gratin. Yum. All right, so it smells deliciously cheesy in my kitchen right now. My potato gratin have been in the oven for about 30 minutes. Let's just take a little look-see. Oh, yes. Now, oh, all right. All right. Oh, hello, beautiful. So I'm just gonna poke these with a fork to see how much further they have. Oh, like I can feel that, like they might look done, but potatoes need to be fork tender. In and out with a fork. Notice I'm saying fork, not paring knife. A paring knife is sharp, and if the potatoes are almost all the way done, but not quite, a paring knife will slide in and out easily. A fork is dull, and if it slides in and out easily, we know the potatoes are for sure done. I don't want my potatoes like tons more brown than this. So for the last 30 minutes of cooking, I'm going to put a foil on the top. So just to keep them from getting more brown. You smell so good. I can't wait to eat you. All right, so there we go. Now, I'm going to rotate my tray so we make sure all the cooking is even. All right, We're gonna go for another 25 minutes. There we go. So another 25 minutes, and the last 5 minutes of cooking time, I'm going to take the foil off my potatoes. I'm gonna pull them out. I'm gonna let them rest for about 15 minutes before I cut them. So press pause. I'll see you in 25. All right, hi, I'm back. I saw you like 25 minutes ago, so let's look at our potatoes. Woo, it smells delicious up in here. All right, so let's just, woo. Oh, gorgeous. Cheesy, potato, deliciousness. All right. Oh yeah, in and out easily. I know these guys are done or cooked through at least. Back in the oven for 5 more minutes just to get really nice and gratin-y on the top. So back in the oven for 5. I'll see you in 5. All right. Hi, I just saw you 5 minutes ago. It's time for the big reveal of my cheesy, delicious potato gratin. Oh yeah, oh yes. So I'm gonna let this rest for about 15 minutes before I start to slice it so I can cut it and the slices will be nice and stay together. If you are really thinking ahead, you could have made this and baked this yesterday, even 2 days ago, and then warmed it up for the day that you're going to use it, and then it will slice beautifully, kind of like, you know, how lasagna rolls. So I'll see you in about 15, 20 minutes. All right. Hello, my cheesy potato gratin. I have made you, I've baked you. You smell beautiful. You look even better. I am ready to get in there and eat you now. I mean, sorry. Not sorry, really. All right, slicing this guy. Oh, yeah, just get in there. Deliciousness. I mean, this is a great accompaniment to lots of great things. Ham, roast beef, pork chops, anything that you want to eat potatoes and cheesy stuff with, go ahead, knock yourself out. So I'm gonna get right in there. There we go. That's a hot potato. I can't wait to get in there and eat it. Oh, I mean, like the ooey, gooey cheesiness. I mean, I can just smell it. It looks beautiful. It looks delicious. It smells amazing. And it is really hot. Woo! That is a deliciously hot and cheesy potato. I love it. I know you're gonna love it, and the people you make it for are gonna love it even more.